All right, welcome to Good Time and Tools. Now today is going to be to work on a 610 Kawasaki Mule. Now what I'm going to be doing right here is showing y'all a little bit of the bike apart, getting the motor off the frame, basically when I pull the motor off the frame. Now if you look right here, the motor's off the frame and it does separate the whole back of the bike. As you can see, it does come away from the bike. Makes it a little easier, but I found another way you can put the motor off and on. Now the GoPro, I did record myself rebuilding the motor, but the GoPro been giving me trouble, so it didn't record. So as you can see right here, the motor's already done, and I already noticed that, man, I'm not gonna tear the motor down just to make a video of it, because it is for a customer. Then I don't want to have to go back through it, but I did take detailed pictures of somewhat of the process, so I'm gonna go ahead and take you along with it. Now as you see right here, this is where the cam's gonna go. See that little hole? You want to make sure that's lubed up, but that's where the cam's gonna slide in. You're gonna see in a future picture, those two things on top of it that slide inside that casing, that's your lifter. That's rides on top of that cam, and that's actually what opens up the valves, so you can get air in and air out. Now coming up, you're gonna see the crankshaft installed and the counterbalance installed. So this right here, you want to make sure those two dimples are lined up, and then you're going to do the same thing on the camshaft. So the camshaft's coming up right next. Right here you're going to see the camshaft. Now whenever you're doing the gear before that, you're going to have to rotate the crank backwards a little bit to get those dimples lined up, get those, put that in place. Make sure you loop everything that is going to go inside the casing. Make sure whenever you do install it inside the casing, it is looped up. You don't want none of this to start dry. You're gonna have a bad day if that happens. So going back to this, the camshaft, you want to get those two lined up. Once you get those two lined up and installed, your bike is timed. So right here, you actually see the camshaft and you see the little lift I'm talking about. Now if you see that black on the casing, yeah, I had to take the casing apart, and because I kind of forgot those. So make sure you put those in before you put the cam in. So get those all looped up, installed in there, then put your cam with those dimples. As you can see, it's right here again. Coming up, I'm gonna start taking apart the valves so I can get the valves cleaned up, the runners for the ports cleaned up. I want clean, good flowing head, to where on the restrictions, the bike's gonna run like it should. So these retainers, they can be in active Congress to pull off, but this one was fairly easy. I was able to take these off by hand. So I'll put my hand on the that plate that goes on your valve spring. I was able to push that down and pull these out with a magnet. Make sure that you take both of them out and place them with the valve, all the assembly aside, so you don't lose anything. You want to put it back exactly how you took it off. I did clean everything, make sure everything was good, and I did do a brief inspection on it when I took it apart. So what I'm gonna be doing next picture is starting to pull the valves out. As you can see, they do pull out. I'm pulling the intake valve. The intake valve is always gonna be your bigger one. So right here is your intake valve. I did clean it up. This one wasn't bad. I just took a Scotch-Brite, cleaned it up, and I want to make sure, more towards the top where the seal actually lies. I wanted that to be very smooth to where the seal can make a good seal on it. So I did the same thing to the exhaust side as well. As you can see right here, I cleaned up the exhaust side real nice. They had a lot of carbon built up on it, so I wanted to make sure it was nice and clean when I installed it. So you want to make sure that it is clean of any carbon or anything like that. And I did clean the combustion chamber on the head as well. I want the valves to seat as much, like they should, because when you're setting the valves, if you do have carbon, you can set the valves inaccurate. You won't get a good reading of it. So right here, I'm starting to change the valve seals, and I just took these pliers and I was able to turn them to break it loose, and I was able to just to work it up. But yeah, pull your valve seals off and get your surfaces all cleaned up. Get, you know, of course, cleanliness helps out a lot, especially building an engine. So as you see right here, this is the valve seal. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it where my middle finger is, that right there. I'm gonna actually turn that up, put a little bit of this in there, and then I'm gonna take my pinky and kind of just work it, get all the seal lubricated, and then I'm gonna go ahead and install it back on the head. So as you can see right here, I'm putting the valves back in place. They do, you know, of course, your smaller one is the exhaust, bigger one's intake. Make sure they go in right. Right here, after I put the retainers back in, you know, make sure everything was in there, I took a dead blow and I just tapped them, each one, you know, making sure that they seat. So you do this just to make sure your valves are you know, all good. I did a brief inspection on the head, but yeah, I just wanted to let y'all know about this, and the timing and setting the valves is going to be coming up next. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking and cut y'all off to the intro. So there's 4 head bolts, and those head bolts are torqued down to 27 foot-pounds. I like to do mine at 3 increments. So I'm gonna start off with 10. I'm gonna torque it down to 10 foot-pounds, and then from there do 20, and then go up to 27. So I'm gonna do them in a cross pattern until I get to the torque spec, slowly, gradually going up. Then after that, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show y'all on how to do the push rods and set your valves to where, and then of course show y'all how to do the timing. So after I torque down the heads, I'm gonna start with the timing, then we're gonna go to setting the valves. I'm gonna set it to 10. And I'm gonna start with this side and just do a cross pattern. So I got that set to 10, I'm gonna go to 20. Gotta set it 20 foot-pounds and just repeat it. And now the final step to 27. So we're gonna start doing the valves. So this is your rocker arms, these are your retaining nuts, and then there is a lock, a lock nut inside of it. It's an Allen head. That Allen head is actually this size, which is a 3mm. So you're gonna have a small one to get in there to set it. I'm gonna show you all that in a bit. Now these are push rods for each cylinder. Inside the head right here is some retainers that go on the head bolts. So right here, let's see if you can see them. You see this little rectangle piece? The stud's gonna actually go in there. Way inside there is a piece you need to make sure that the push rod goes in if you are doing this job. Let me get some light. I don't know if you can see it down there. Yeah, you see that little hole? You got to make sure that the push rod goes in there. That's your lifter. If you don't have it in there, you don't get no valve action. That's actually what pushes up and down on the push rod to open and close your valve. So let's go ahead and start setting this up, and we're gonna get the valves and timing set. So you're gonna take this. I usually No matter what, if I just wiped it down before I installed it, I'm gonna wipe it again. So you clean it off the push rods. What I like to do is this is a little thing of oil, actually oil that would be ran inside the motor. So I just take it, dip it to where it ain't dry, and then you're gonna put it through that little retainer, and then you try to find your little lifter inside to where you can put your push rod inside of it. Alright, so now you should be able to see what I'm talking about. Inside there, you see where the push rod is? I'm gonna move it out the way so you can see what I'm talking about. You see that little dimple in there? That's actually the lifter. Make sure that push rod goes in there. See how it's in there? Yeah, so this is how your push rod is going to be sitting in there, and you just put it inside the lifter. So I'm going to take this, lube it up. I'm also doing this because I don't want it to rust on me, in case it's going to be a little while before I can finish the bike. So I'll put this in place. It's got a snug on there, because I'm going to be setting it once I've installed everything.